When Star Fox winged its way onto the Super Nintendo in 1993, it was considered, if not revolutionary, then certainly pioneering, helping to usher in the era of the polygon. Since then, the Star Fox series has been a staple of the gaming world and is one of Nintendo's most successful, popular, and enduring series, spawning hit after Not You! While not all the entries have had the appeal, success or impact of Star Fox 64, that's Lilac Wars to us Brits, they have tended to be at least solid additions to any lineup on the GameCube, DS or Wii U, while Fox and Falco have also shown themselves to be mainstays in the Smash Bros. Lineup. In short, Fox McCloud and his team aren't going anywhere, and plans are almost certainly being hatched as we speak for their next adventure, whether that be on the Switch or whatever else Nintendo have planned for the future. Here on Now and Then 64, we intend to set out our own idea for the next instalment in this ever-growing series, and the hook? It barely features Fox at all. This is the first edition of
Shut up and take my money!
The backstory to Star Fox 64 is laid out in a Star Wars-esque crawl. Naturally, this is far from the only evidence of influence from the George Lucas films of the late 70s and early 80s, and various elements of the story, characters, and even dialogue are inspired by the iconic space opera. One theme that unites the protagonists, Luke Skywalker and Fox McCloud, other than being hotshot fighter pilots, is an absent father. James McCloud, the original leader of the Star Fox team, was sent along with Pigma Dengar, more on him shortly, and ever-present team member Peppy Hare, to investigate Andros' activity in exile on Venom. As described in that backstory, upon arrival, Peppy and James were betrayed by Pigma. Peppy barely escaped and James was captured and presumed killed. Since then, the character of James has only appeared in brief cameos, with his status never truly being confirmed, and it being hinted that he has ascended to a higher plane of existence, or even that his appearances may be merely Fox hallucinating. James McCloud's life is an area of the Star Fox history that has never been fully explored, and if done correctly, could add depth to the series and provide additional context to the existing games, particularly the best one, Star Fox 64. And what could go wrong? Star Wars did 3 prequels and they were critically acclaimed and beloved by all. Perhaps we should look once again to Star Wars for a word of caution, but a prequel can be a valuable storytelling tool, and if you're a Nintendo executive watching this and are worried that the Star Wars prequels were awful, to you I simply say, make it not awful. Now, I'm not a scriptwriter or a storytelling expert, but it seems to me that the main story beats would look something like this. The Star Fox team, a group of mercenary fighter pilots with hearts of gold, are on a regular job, fighting off some bandits on a far-flung world. You get the opportunity to establish the trust and bond between James, Peppy and Pigma, though maybe Pigma is more cynical and just a shade more mercenary than fighter. Upon completion of their job, they receive a message from General Pepper of the Cornerian army, calling them to a conference on Corneria. At this meeting, Pepper explains the circumstances behind Andros' exile, and that their scouts have detected unusual activity on Venom. Pigma is unusually eager to help, and the Star Fox team agree to investigate. James says a brief farewell to his adolescent son Fox, with a promise that although the mission is fraught with danger, he will return before long. The main portion of the game would feature the Star Fox team journeying through the Lilac system, being drawn along their way to investigate and combat obstacles and points of interest, with the player naturally primarily controlling James, although opportunities could be made to switch to Peppy or Pigma for specific missions. While naturally many of the areas would need to be new to avoid simply being a rehash of Star Fox 64, it would allow the opportunity to see certain classic locations from the series in a new light, perhaps showing the beginning of Andros' influence expanding across the galaxy, turning previously peaceful worlds such as Katina, Macbeth and Fortuna into war-torn disaster areas or military outposts for Andros. General Pepper could divert the team away from the route to Venom in order to assist with other local matters along the way. An early encounter with one Wolf O'Donnell would also make sense. According to the Star Fox wiki, it was believed that Wolf had somehow been involved in the apparent death of James McCloud. Perhaps he's encountered and considered as a potential ally, before a miscommunication leaves a bad taste in the mouth and ultimately provides Wolf with the impetus to assist Andros in the ambush on Venom, perhaps even alerting him to the team's approach. As the team draw closer to Venom, Peppy opens a private communication channel with James and expresses his misgivings about Pigma, noting his increasingly erratic and self-involved behaviour. James encourages Peppy to trust in the unity and code of the team. The team enter Venom and find themselves ambushed by a swarm of enemy fighters. Pigma disappears in the chaos. James and Peppy attempt in vain to find him, while simultaneously fighting off the armies of Andros. They cannot understand how his forces have grown so numerous. During the ensuing fight, Pigma reappears, but as Peppy and James begin to celebrate his return, he fires upon them, damaging both James and Peppy's ships. Andros forces concentrate their fire on James' ship, and he is hit with EMP, disabling his controls and leaving him to glide his ship into the hornet's nest of Andros base. As he does so, he orders Peppy to flee Venom and alert General Pepper, while also pleading with him to keep an eye on his son Fox and tell him the truth about what happened. The player's controls switch to Peppy, dazed but furious with betrayal. The final missions require Peppy to shoot down a deranged, laughing Pigma's ship in a bitter dogfight, before making a desperate escape in a severely damaged R-Wing from Andros and Venom in the climax of the game. Peppy boards the team's carrier ship, the predecessor of Great Fox, and collapses in exhaustion and grief. Upon his return to Corneria, Peppy tells Fox and General Pepper of the events on Venom. Fox leaves to commence his own training, while Peppy and the General discuss Andros, Pigma, and the need to rebuild the Star Fox team. General Pepper mentions a promising young pilot with a hot-headed streak, Falco Lombardi. As a huge fan of Star Fox 64 and the series as a whole, I would buy this game in an instant if it was produced. It would be a fantastic opportunity to marry up a compelling story with the frenetic, fantastic gameplay that Star Fox players have come to expect, and could well reinvigorate interest in the classic games in the process, breathing new life into a series that started so strongly but has stalled a little in recent years. Nintendo, I beseech you, shut up and take my money.